Okay. I can get with this for sure. Let's just drop a few things in the blast area here. Should get a decent chunk of damage done. Fantastic. In fact, can probably just sear and ray these sons of guns to the finish as we start to slow down, hey? Well, if that's the case, bit of insurance placed down first. Keep you in the blast range. And there we go. Turn to stone just in time to not look at our explosion. And the basilisk goes down. Staff of Death. Unfortunately, not what we're looking for. Maybe if I am desperate for an early source of positive energy. See that being nice. Let's place one of these bad boys down here while we're at it. And get blasting. There we go, not too shabby. And once more with feeling, shall we? The extra range might be nice for our Searing Ray, but we'll see if we really end up using it too much here. Seeing as how we're just about at the section of the game where most of our spellcasting will be taken over by Fulminate Prism and IMB. Let's place you there so that none of these sons of guns decide to do anything too silly here. And that is beautiful. Still slightly terrified for our first Hydra encounter. We'll have to see how that all goes down. Oh geez. If we could run away, taking the hits, not ideal, but still slightly worth it just to ensure that I was hoping not to bring the second wolf. That's what my brain was trying to say there, but whoopsie daisies. Turns out it's going to be slightly rougher. Thanks, Rover, for the hydrate. Perfect timing on that, making sure that we give this a little bit more thought. Do we just hope that the blast is enough? I guess we can do some quick number crunching here. 22 health. And we, oopsie daisies, let's try that again. Fulminate Prism is 3d14. So if we hit just slightly above median, we should be okay. Still not a guarantee necessarily. They can only hit for 12 damage, so let's start there and see how it goes. Oof, so maybe about 11 health left on each of you sons of guns. Let's bring out the Ice Blast to help finish it off here. And can even probably do a Magic Dart. Hit that son of a gun, and that is perfect. So definitely start to struggle in these kind of extended conflict areas. We're going to have to be slightly careful and cognizant of that fact. For a second there, I was like, oh, do I want to step forward? But no. We're in a good spot. Let them come to us. Let's not get hit by my own blast. Sure, second blast isn't going to hit, but that's not the end of the world. And then we'll just keep them coming along here. But that should be lovely. Not too shabby here, all things considered. Can even keep kiting away a little bit, just make sure that we don't get ourselves into too much trouble. Yaks alone aren't a big deal. Fortunately, they're not fast, which is where you start to get into a bit of trouble. Worried slightly about that frog showing up out of the blue, but as is, we are very happy. Another heal wounds potion for the pockets here. Still waiting on those rings, to say the least, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Okay, Grum. That's cool too. Wolf came in and out of view, so there are still some wolves in Grum's pack here. But you know, if they want to come face me one by one instead of sticking with their pack leader, I'm not going to complain. That definitely works for me. So at least one more wolf, and Grum is also definitely still out and about. You know what? I might have to take IMB off of my quick cast macros there, because I keep on accidentally throwing that off. There's no confirm screen, which makes it a little bit rough for sure. Hello, Grum. Let's just throw one of these down, and that should do the trick. Well, I did the thing again. Right after talking about it, immediately fall into the exact same pit trap there, but let us, maybe to prevent that in the future. Do I want Summon Guardian Golem in that slot? It's also a non-confirmed spell, unfortunately. I feel like I'm just used to IMB and Vulnerable Prison being on opposite keys. So let's switch them, and now my brain will have caught up, and I'll still continue to get it wrong each and every time. But that should be fine. That's not the end of the world. Hello, my friend. Step right up. And perfect. Definitely a bit of heavy damage there. We have the protection from fire, no resistances of any other kind quite yet. So we're definitely hoping for that to be changed soon. Oh, would you look at that? Or not. Ring of Fire is just more of the same. In fact, I could give myself some vulnerability to cold. And there we go. There's our first misstep going back to the old ways. Whoopsie daisies. Let's throw this down here. We are frozen, which is not great. This son of a gun deals way more damage than I care to admit. 3d13 means that we could theoretically die, especially with such low AC. If they just high roll, that's the end of it. I mean, they did just high roll on the first hit to get us down to basically half health, so could always hope and dream. Could also employ a fog scroll to get us a slight amount of security around us here. They are fast. So how desperately do we want to cling to survival right now? It's definitely a good start. The reason why I ask is because we could just read a fear scroll, run for the stairs, get the heck out of Dodge. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's not worry about getting lucky or unlucky, any of that nonsense, and instead just keep ourselves safe. And I'm very tempted to go through with that. Let's do it. It might not work with the explosion because they might get knocked out of it, you're saying. That is true. We might need to wait one more turn before we do so. There we go. If that explosion had killed something, might have stuck around, find out. But I am more than happy to play it a little bit on the safe side. Why, hello there, friend. If you could very kindly get blasted, that is lovely. And, oh. We're actually going to accidentally explode our own fulminant prison there just a wee bit, but we do manage to kill off one of the Komodo dragons. Did have a second one showing up there, which is what the surprise was all about. But hey. We can keep bouncing between the stairs. It does also seem like we might have Spider as our first S branch that we discover here. At least one jumping spider. Generally a pretty fair indication here in the early levels of the Lair. Ooh, and some more ID. Let's back off from here real quick and see what other tools we can get at our disposal. Amnesia is not too bad. Also looks like we're just about to hit all of the caps that we were looking for. And yeah, Rubber, you are correct. The monsters do stop running when they take... It might be a certain amount of damage, or it's like a chance every time they take damage, because it hasn't seemed super consistent at every time in my experience. But definitely important to take note of here. And let's get back to moving on here. Spiders actually shouldn't be too much trouble, he says very, very ambitiously. But fortunately we have some undodgeable damage here, and so that helps out a great deal in the whole keeping ourselves alive against some squishy, highly evasive enemies like our spider friends. And that is perfect. I think we even will go for the slightly risky plan of trying to blast this son of a gun. Do I stick around? be like 30 damage, 34 damage. But let's take you on a brief gander here, shall we? Just a short journey until we have enough for 9B. There we go. And okie dokie, what do we wish to do? Don't think we've picked up too many spells that we want to get into our service or our repertoire immediately here. So we could go defensive, fighting for a bit of health. Shields is also very much calling out to me right now. We have that kite shield. Would have to train a decent bit in order to not have it impede any of our spell casting. But it's probably worth it to throw it in the background. Let's even get a little bit of fighting, bring it up to something like 5. You can see that as an Octopode, we have really kind of just solid aptitudes across the board here. Nothing too bad. The only negative is -1 in spellcasting, and a -1 isn't exactly a big deal. We do get the positive values in poison magic, so that's why we were hoping for some early poison magic to potentially get the ball rolling, as it were. Which shouldn't be too much of an issue regardless. Jeez Louise. That hurt just a bit, my friend. So, we're in a similar situation here. I mean, the chances it high rolls twice can't be that great, right? But that's probably not the best way to live our life, so let's just leave that son of a gun alone real quick and reset the entire encounter. And there we go, not too shabby. We're on the lookout for some AC rings. Even our first artifact ring is going to be a huge upgrade in terms of our overall abilities here. It takes some practice to get to the point where where you are not accidentally blasting yourself with Fulminate Prisms here. It's nice to know that it takes that couple of turns, so as long as you're consistent there, you can kind of set them up so that you are currently standing in and you can know that you will be safe before anything too sketchy happens. In fact, did they hear us? Perfect. They even stepped into the final blast. We get the "you feel a bit more experienced" message, and that is lovely. Let's get back on the road. Get a couple more of these scrolls I need. Magic mapping in case we find an early time portal here that we desperately wish to explore. Don't love you, kiddos, but we'll drop off quick Fulminate Prism. Main issue with the blink frogs, of course, is that there's no telling where they'll end up, so it's really hard to get those Fulminate Prisms popping. IMB still MVP in a lot of ways, so that is fantastic, but you kiddos could get the heck over here. There we go, not too shabby. Up to 3 and 3. In fact, let's head upstairs real quick. 6% on Guardian Golem, everything else is essentially fully castable. Let's see how that changes with the addition of the kite shield. I mean, Guardian Golem is no longer any good. But let's change that. Let's train a little bit of summonings. I can definitely see us using that in the future as well, specifically for something like Spellforge Servitor is always a huge upgrade in the late game. Let's see how that goes, shall we? Kind of want to put one right where you're standing, my friend. Do we commit to this? Let's commit a little bit, shall we? Bring them out into the blast radius. Throw down another one that's in our current blast radius, somewhere like there, and that should be just about perfect. Since Bahamut is the god of destructive magic and Fulminate Prism is a magic grenade, does that make Fulminate Prism a holy hand grenade? It must. It must. The only way to defeat the fearsome beast that awaits us here. And Boulder Beetle is absolutely terrifying. So let's leave that son of a gun wandering about on their own, at least for the short term here. Oh my lord. And So we see where the blink frogs start to become a bit of an issue here. I mean, if I can just permanently IMB them off of me, we'll have nothing to complain about. The issue at hand there is that depending on where they're all blinking, there's no guarantee, ouch, that we're not gonna use up all of our magic like we saw. But there we go, we make it back to the stairs. Yeah, you just don't get the consistency of being able to slam like 4 of them in one fell swoop, so that makes it a little bit rougher to get through that without spending ridiculous amounts of magic points. Hello, Sonya. Not who I expected to see here, so 30 health. Hey there, Buttons. Welcome, welcome. 30 health with unavoidable damage, not too bad. We could even just throw Ice Blast at this problem until it goes away. Alternatively, not great willpower on you. I said not great willpower. I said not great willpower? Perfect. Just as we drew it up. Let's place one of these here. Accidentally IMB. Whoopsie daisies. Put another full in prison there, and that should kill Sonya. And then get the heck out of dodge. You're set because of slowed or that? Yeah, I think no matter what, going against Sonya with the Kirari, we're going to be slowed, so I'm happy to at least attempt it in a relative amount of safety here. That is lovely. So, not that stairwell. Is this one slightly safer? That's looking alright. Let's pop in here. Begin our exploration anew. Manticore is slightly terrifying. Let's just get some blasts set up in advance here. Oof. Not quite as good as I would like, but there we go. And we're still not getting hit by the barbs there, so that's all I could really ask for. And we should be able to finish off the Windrake. Fantastic. Only slightly terrifying. And then it's back to the mix with our friends here. Our jumpy boys. Well, if you could all be so kind as to group up just a wee bit. There we go. Here's where we're going to use a technique here, I think. What's the best way for me to set this up? So, Fulminant Prism creates a little friend, shall we say, that can take a hit, which means I believe I can just set up a Fulminant Prism right here. It'll explode immediately, but it'll get the Boulder Beetle out of rolling, so that's pretty huge. And then, let's get our summon out first. Oh gosh. No, do not blast. One of these days I'll get those hotkeys attributed properly. I don't want to get hit by the Boulder Beetle for sure. It's looking like it might happen regardless. I guess I could put a feebly detonating prism just right here again, if we so desire. If it blows up right away, it shouldn't mess up our main prism. How much health do you have? 76? That's too much, my friend. That's going to take a few Fulminant Prisms to chunk through, which I'm not sure we are at the liberty of getting going. Let's see, is there anywhere I can place it here that's slightly usable? Not so much, hey? Well, let's still start here. Boulder Beetle didn't get rolling into us, so that's fantastic. I'm slightly terrified of hurting my own Guardian Golem, because I'm not sure how much damage their explosion will get off here. And we're kind of working in the opposite situation as to what you want with the Guardian Golem, because you need the space to make sure that their self-destruct doesn't cause us any real issues. So let's see, I could try to paralyze the Blink Frog, which I don't love, but let's check it out. Now maybe save that for the Boulder beetle themselves if we can get out of the rest of this situation. I guess acid is not a horrible start here. And let's see. Ice blast, not quite. You know what? Let's go with the IMB. Ooh, Guardian Golem disappears. Interesting. Well, that's not great. Don't go get that son of a gun. Yes. Okay, here we go. Now that's what we're hoping to see. Fantastic. Let this son of a gun come right up. We'll keep blasting them back into the fire. Still gonna take a decent amount more damage before you're dead, unfortunately. But let's just hit you with some acid at the very least. Ice blast you, and 31%. That's all we ever needed, baby. Perfect. Definitely not lucky or anything like that. Pure skill, fully calculated, of course, like we do. And you love to see it. Let's get back on the road here, shall we? Ooh, and there is our first Hydra pal. Why, hello there, friend. If you could just walk through this this minefield, as it were, I would be more than happy with that. And that is fantastic. That's why we're not going to be too worried about Hydras. Again, with the kind of asterisk thrown in there that we need the space in order to go through with our entire game plan. But that shouldn't be too hard to get set up. Oh, that's correct, Rubbery. My bad, my bad. Of course, it's the holy minefield. Indeed. As covered earlier in the lecture, it's definitely the holy minefield. There we go. Not too shabby here. Still using Searing Ray just a wee bit, but not super necessary anymore. I guess it's still slightly cheaper, especially in these more single target scenarios. But how's everything coming along? Summoning is definitely up there. Okay, one more skill point. I'll let it finish off. Once we're down to just shields, I should probably put something else into the mix. Is that an artifact sling? Let's find out. Oh my gosh, it was. Whoopsie daisies. Thank you so much. Vocable Blink, cold protection. Honestly worth it, even if just for the cold protection, seeing as how we're not really using our dagger anyway. Let's see, do we have many sling bullets? I picked that up. And let's just keep shooting around here real quick. Okay, and that should be all of the sling bullets for now, but that's a decent little selection there. A very nice number of sling bullets, 69 for the road here. And let's head back to Lair, shall we? Yeah, you know, I don't hate keeping that around for the time being. Again, especially since we're largely sticking with spells. So I was hoping that all of our lack of artifact jewelry in the earlier runs, or our previous run I should say, would mean that we'd get lucky today. It's not looking to be fully swinging that direction for the time being, unfortunately. Seeing as how we've already got an artifact helmet and artifact boots, neither of which we're able to wear by any means. But that shouldn't be the end of the day. Amulet of Faith, not a huge find or a huge advantage with Vehement here, so we're not going to worry about that. And let's definitely get some obstacles set up here, shall we? Do we want to keep the goose chase going? Oh, I'm going to get hit by my own whoopsie daisies. That's not ideal. Oh my gosh, and that's a bad combination. Let's start by getting the Komodo off of our back. That eel is going to be a real problem. We might just have to use up a blinking. Again, moving a bit too fast there. Not exactly paying attention. If we had it ourselves with the Fallen Prism and been a little bit quicker to notice the Komodo dragon, probably would be feeling slightly more comfortable here. Because 3d6, so we could technically do one more IMB, but if the Komodo dragon doesn't get knocked back enough, boy, are we in trouble. So I guess instead of fear, we could use, or instead of blink, we could use fear. Maybe fear, yeah, rubbery chicken, same idea here. I think I will. Let's just largely get away from the water for the moment here. Komodo dragon we can probably take care of, at least in a vacuum. Just do the safe play, maneuver them away. And turns out I wasn't heading towards my stairs. That could have been horrible, but there we go. Down to just one fear left, but not the end of the world. We'll keep the training as is until we get that summoning up to the next stage there. No, I'm kind of using P just because I think that I still have Magic Dart quivered, but of course it auto-swapped when we picked up the sling here. Might need to make a slight change there. Unless we do end up wanting to use the sling a little bit for its intended purposes instead of just as something to kind of hold in our offhand while we absolutely blast the ever-living crap out of these enemies with our spells. There's an argument to be made, for sure, for either way. Okay, my polar friend, you could just keep heading right on this way. Right there. Perfect. And not too shabby. Ooh, that's gonna pick up quick. So let's get these sons of guns. Fine. We'll attack with this thing the old-fashioned way. There we go. Switch over to Searing Ray here. And Yak Packs shouldn't be too much trouble, and in fact that goes beautifully. Staff of Cold, I guess if we want more cold resistance, that's kind of nice. Otherwise, not super useful at the moment. Hoping for like a Staff of Conjurations or something, that might be worth the swap away from the current sling plan here. But I'm sure we'll be fine either way. And just as it goes berserk, we get everything set up. As Vehement offers us knowledge of Stone Arrow. Now that is a bit more up my alley. Some good single target damage for my trouble. Alternatively, we could go with Lightning Bolt as well. Lightning Bolt carries pretty hard for the middle section of the game. Falls off by the time you get to Zot. Of course, the majority of enemies have electricity resistance, but that's not something we really have to worry about at the moment. Stone Arrow is a bit cheaper than Lightning Bolt, but doesn't have the pierce. Now let's learn Stone Arrow while we're here. There's usually plenty of Amnesia Scrolls to go around. So let's take advantage of the limited time offer. Why, hello there, my dragon friend. Not too bad. Definitely don't ideally want to pop around a corner and come face to face with one of the slightly scarier enemies, but that should be fine. And we can blind shot the eel with Fulminant here. And in fact, let's just try and do similar things with the rest of our buddies. 2 more messages of feeling more experienced. That is perfect. There's something to be said for that fact alone. Being a strong proponent or strong contributing pro for Fulminant Prism is the fact that you can hit enemies outside of your vision. There are not a lot of abilities in the game that share that behavior. So definitely is pretty huge. Let's set up nice little funnel area here so that we're not dealing with the usual issues that the blink frogs have, most namely being the fact that they are never quite where you want them to be. And there we go. That is much nicer. We did hit summoning at some point along the road here, so let's get back into the plan of what do we wish to train. So on the higher level, I've still never used Cactus Giant, so I'm not 100% sure as to its viability. We could, again, go with the air magic, Lightning Bolt, potentially even going into MCC for the late game. Nice way of deleting Orbs of Fire at the very least. Unfortunately, no transmutations yet. That's what would have been really nice to have in our back pocket here, in our repertoire. But that should be okay. while I decide on this, I do need to take just a brief moment. Send a text to my partner. Apologies. Oops. And let's do it. Let's go with Lightning Bolt play. We'll train at least a little bit in that department. Get that power level up, because I'm assuming it's going to be pretty low yet, 23%. But that 1d39, huge range. So as long as we just get lucky, which, hey, can always just rely on that, right? That's the thing about luck, is it's always consistent, random chance. You always know exactly what's going to happen. That's what they always say. So hopefully we can get that working out in our favor here. But as mentioned before, there's not going to be a huge rush to rely on it. Still have Full Noon Prism 9B to do all the heavy lifting, as it were. Let's definitely get you blasted. Ooh, not quite, but close. And oof, do get turned to stone. It's not ideal here, but hopefully we can kill you before it happens the second time. So we didn't get quite as lucky with those rolls. Perfect timing on that right after we were talking about it, but hey, that's fine. And that looks to be our entrance to slime, if I had to guess. A bold guess to make, I'm sure. Could be anything, really, but I have a sneaking suspicion. We have our slime door coming up right away here. Of course, we're not going to be doing anything with it for the time being, but nice to have it as an option.